Welcome to Heidi Relationships. Today, we'll read some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you very much in advance.
The next one is titled, Caught Wife Deleting Text Messages. Alright, so this happened about 6 months ago, but it still bothers me from time to time. My wife, 29, and I, 26, have been married 5 years now, and I never had any reason to snoop through her phone until one day she confessed that she had started smoking cigarettes again, which was a big deal. My dad got cancer from tobacco and died when I was in high school, and I told her that she had to quit if we were going to be in a relationship. She did quit, but apparently had started again and had been hiding it from me for about 6 months. I've always been able to tell when she smoked before, but she was working a job at a casino, so obviously I just assumed that's where the smell was coming from. Anyway, this revelation made me more suspicious of her, and I started paying attention to everything she did. I guess finding out that she had the potential to hide things from me shattered my trust in her. I noticed she was constantly on her phone texting way more than she ever was, and I would catch her waking up to text late at night. But it was more than just the texting, because I noticed her mood had changed. She seemed irritable, and there were many occasions where she was so focused on her phone, she would completely ignore the kids. I felt like I was constantly having to answer the kids for her, because otherwise they would just keep saying, "Mom," over and over while she was zoned out. Anyway, all of this is what led me to check the text logs through my AT&T app. I could see the numbers and the times only, but I was able to write down the number she was messaging so often. At that point I decided I was going to read through her messages to get to the truth. I didn't know her password, but I was able to peek over her shoulder once to memorize it. It felt wrong, but I figured if I saw the messages and it was nothing, then I wouldn't bring it up. So, I decided that night I would wait for her to fall asleep and look through her phone. Of course, when I searched her phone for the phone number, I saw in the logs it was some nickname that was unrecognizable, and there were 0 messages between them because she had deleted them all. I was pissed shaking at this point. I was pacing back and forth trying to decide if I should confront her about it or if I should wait and calm down first. I wasn't sure what to do, but she woke up right after I put her phone back, asking me what was wrong. I sat down on the bed and asked her why she was deleting her messages, and she just sighed. She explained that it wasn't what I was thinking. She said the main reason why she deleted them was because they talked about something that happened to her as a kid that she never told anyone, not even me, and that she didn't want me to find out because she thought I would treat her differently. Without going into detail, she was molested once by a family member that was just a couple years older. Now I don't doubt that that was discussed, and I understand her reasoning for keeping that part from me, but there were weeks of constant texting between them that I know couldn't have been all about that one incident. After some prying, she told me a lot about what was supposedly talked about. She admitted that she did complain about me sometimes and that they did send selfies, but she insisted it was never anything inappropriate, although in my mind that is inappropriate. She also said that they talked about BDSM. This guy was evidently in the lifestyle. That was something that she tried getting me into a year or so after we married, but I was just not ready to get into dominating at the time. I was a virgin when we got together, so plain sex was still plenty exciting for me. I even offered to give that stuff another chance, but she shot me down, saying she was only curious about the dynamic, but she didn't want that anymore. So, at this point I was feeling pretty low. She was talking to this guy way more than she was to me and spending a lot of time with him. He's a cop, and at the time all of this was happening she worked dispatch and went on a few ride-alongs with him, which is how they met. All of this crap coming out ate me up because I felt like my whole life was about to crumble. She made some comments during our talks after the incident that made me think she was thinking about leaving. Talking about how she wouldn't stay in a loveless marriage even for the kids, and that she could imagine being on her own. We had not had sex in at least a month before this, and I for some reason thought if we had sex that would maybe help us connect again. That ended up being a terrible decision because she just laid there, and I came really fast. It had been a while. Okay. Worst sex ever, and I felt like we were done in that moment. Fast forward a week and she had a totally changed attitude. She said she felt good about everything and that it was her monthly cycle and hormones that made her feel like she could leave. Hard to believe, but she really did seem more like herself. I know from the outside it probably seems pretty cut and dry, but I should say that she was cheated on in a previous marriage, and from the beginning that was something that she always said was absolutely unacceptable in a relationship. And I'll admit that I sometimes got caught up doing my own thing and didn't pay attention to her as much as I should have, and that opened the door for her to find others to vent to. She has since not deleted any messages. I've asked for phone, and she has given it to me, and the messages line up with the logs. She still talks to the person on occasion, but it's work talk. No more far too personal stuff being discussed, at least as far as I know. Our relationship is better than before, except when I get these random doubts that creep in from time to time and make me question if I have been told the truth. P.S. Before this I was very confident in our relationship and confident in myself. I was never the jealous type and never kept tabs on my wife. Like, I seriously never had even the slightest desire to snoop through her stuff. But now, I have this doubt in the back of my mind that is telling me I've been cheated on. I have no proof and no way of finding out what was really going on. I just have to take my wife's word and hope that's the truth. Edit. I wrote all of this several months ago, but I left it as draft because I felt a little better just getting it out at the time. However, I'm posting it now because I checked her phone again randomly and discovered that once again, she has deleted messages between this guy. I told her I wouldn't go through her phone again. I don't know what to do. A user in the comments said, "You know she's having an emotional affair at the very least. She is showing all the classic signs of cheating too. I'm sorry this is going on, but you have to tell her you know. Why hide your knowledge when she is clearly hiding things from you? It is pretty clear that she is emotionally blackmailing you to keep your distance, because as long as you let her hide her actions, she's just fine, but as soon as you bring it up, she gets distant, threatens to leave, says things like, 'I can see myself on my own,' and more. What is even worse is that by your account she hasn't shown any remorse for her actions. If she were my wife, it would go something like this. Stop all interaction with this other person, completely. If she has to change jobs, so be it. Commit to at least 1 year of couples therapy. Permanently unlock her phone so you have access whenever you want without asking. Barring these simple steps, seek legal counsel, and work on divorce. This isn't sustainable, and you can't spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder." The next one is titled, "Update Caught Wife Deleting Text Messages." She woke up this morning to me on her phone, intentionally, asking why she was deleting messages again. She of course was mad that I had gone through her phone without asking once more, but I made her listen this time. I told her that I was not going to apologize for invading her privacy because it was her fault that I no longer trusted her. I made it clear that everything that happened was on her. We ended up having a pretty good talk. She said she was willing to break all contact with the guy except what she couldn't control at work. They work the same shift. But she told him that she was no longer going to be talking to him beyond work stuff, and then she blocked him, which was good. So, a little later after our talk, I was reading some of the comments to this post when she asked me what I was doing. I told her exactly what I was doing, and she asked to read my post and all of the comments. I agreed and handed her my phone. After reading everything, she broke down crying. At this point she finally understood and realized what she had done to me. I have to say, I truly believe that their relationship never progressed into a physical one, but I think it certainly had the potential if I never caught her and confronted her in the first place. However, I still felt like I had been cheated on, and this is the part she ignored before. In her mind, she hadn't cheated because there wasn't anything physical going on between them. It was this revelation that she had indeed cheated on me emotionally that really hit home. She was genuinely heartbroken. I could see it. Crying, she apologized for everything she put me through and for not understanding how deeply this affected me. She finally took responsibility for her actions. I honestly feel like we can move on from this now that all of this is out in the open. Also, she said she is willing to go to marriage counseling or to use a GPS tracker or anything else that will give me peace of mind. The first one is titled "My girlfriend wants to take a stressful job and I foolishly set an ultimatum against it. We have been together for 7 years now. She, 28F, has been thinking about taking a stressful job which will leave her with no time to do anything. We did that before when we were right out of college, and we didn't have any money at all. It was hard. I, 27M, was able to handle the soul-destroying nature of 60-plus hours a week a bit better than her. She was a mess. She leaned a lot on me emotionally to get through it. She was close to burnout. She was starting to become unhealthy. She was also had a habit on lashing out on me. She always apologized, but I don't like being yelled at. Being yelled at ducks me up, and those 3 years were the only time we got into yelling matches. It was without a doubt the worst years of my life. We had to move for my job, and she was able to get a much less stressful job and higher pay job. She became much happier, a lot less annoyed, and we were able to patch our relationship and grow closer. I told her that, if she took that job, I would have to think about where this relationship is going and if I can handle the emotional turmoil that comes with it. I realized that it was not the right thing to do, and I am a fool for letting my fears and panic take over, make a manipulative attempt to force her to not take the job. I am planning to apologize for this. I thought we had paid our dues and could try to climb the ladder slowly. Try to build our life slowly. Get married and start a family. We have talked about this, and she says she wants all the same things, but I don't know anymore. She wants to take a job which has really great pay and would set us up for great things. We are really comfortable right now, and even if she takes another less stressful job, it would not be huge difference. She is promising me that she will handle it better this time. My emotional reaction is not to trust her on this. I know that is unfair, but she almost said the exact same words when we were in the bad patch after fights. But the thing is that if she doesn't, I don't think I will have the courage to leave her when she is struggling. I won't be able to deal with the guilt. I don't know why she is doing this. We are doing well. I know that she isn't a greedy or materialistic person. She loves her current workplace and culture. She has scope for promotions. She loves her work. It seems really odd that she wants to switch all of a sudden, especially to something which would be soul-destroying. When I asked her about it, she said it is the money, and I asked her if it is worth the money. She just shrugged and changed the topic. Someone pointed out that it could something may have happened at her current work. I really fear I have ducked things up due to setting an ultimatum and hurt her feelings a lot. I feel like a crap boyfriend. She was willing to move for me even when she was reluctant to do it. She has pointed out that I am placing my career above hers and that I didn't get to dictate what she did with her career. A user in the comments said, "It doesn't seem like the problem here is that she's considering a stressful job. You don't mention anywhere that you're worried that her working long, hard hours will negatively impact your ability to be a couple, her ability to help out with housework, etc. Instead, what you're writing about being worried about is that if she takes a stressful job with long hours, you'll have a repeat of her using you as a punching bag when she's stressed out. In other words, your ultimate wasn't, if you take this job, I'll need to rethink this relationship. Your ultimatum actually was, if you go back to verbally abusing me, I'll need to rethink this relationship." Another user said, "You were right to set an ultimatum, but you said it about the wrong things. Your real fear is that the job will damage your relationship because she will take out her stress on you. So, you should communicate that instead. I am happy for you to take any job you want, but I don't want to go back to how our relationship was when you were so stressed all the time. If this new job means we return to you lashing out at me due to stress, I will have to reconsider our relationship because that's not a healthy way for either of us to live." Another user said, "She is right that you don't get to make her professional decisions etc. for her. However, if she is going to take this job and not have a repeat of the past, e.g., lashing out, you will both need an action plan. Whether we like it or not, our jobs, income and other practical aspects of life can have an impact on our partners. Although we shouldn't be making our personal decisions just for our partner, being in a healthy relationship sometimes demands compromise and at least consideration of how our choices will affect our significant other. In regard to an action plan, how is she going to deal with the stress? It's no good saying you'll deal with it, you need to have an idea of how. Will she agree to start seeing a professional, e.g., therapist, etc., if the stress becomes too much? Will she learn new healthy coping mechanisms to employ when things become too much? Will you both work on developing a trigger to de-escalate tension if it becomes too much? You will also need to set appropriate boundaries with her. E.g., if she needs to vent about work or gets snappy due to stress, but it gets excessive to the point it is affecting your mental well-being, you may need to set a firm boundary. Couples therapy can help with this if you are unsure of how to set healthy boundaries with each other. E.g., you can agree in advance that if you feel she is lashing out and the situation is escalating into a row, you can remove yourself from the situation temporarily to give you both time to come down. Fighting often causes a physiological reaction in us, similar to fight or flight, that makes it very hard to think clearly or be generous and understanding to the other person. If you agree to remove yourself temporarily from instances where this occurs, it will allow you both time to calm down and come back to each other to discuss the issue with more kindness. This is just one example of a boundary that may be worth discussing. There is nothing wrong with rescinding your ultimatum if you regret it and having an open discussion with her about how you feel. You can tell her that you regret giving an ultimatum, but you made it because you are scared of a repeat of past behaviors. You may not understand her reasons for wanting this job, but that doesn't matter. It's down to her at the end of the day, but that doesn't mean that you should just accept any unfair treatment that may arise as a result. You need to work together on this and figure out how you are going to combat it moving forward. The next one is titled, Update. My girlfriend wants to take a stressful job and I foolishly set an ultimatum against it. I, 27M, would like to thank everyone who took time to give me valuable advice. It helped me realize I was going about it the wrong way and possibly ruined a relationship of 7 years. Yesterday, we sat down and had a proper conversation. I apologized to her for lashing out with an ultimatum. I explained how scared I was of things sliding back. She, 28F, was able to understand it, and she also pointed out how hurtful me setting down an ultimatum was. I talked about mapping out a plan so that we don't slide into the mess we had created. I think me being open to the idea of her working allowed her to be vulnerable and reveal why she wanted to chase money. She wants to put down roots in the city and buy a house here. She grows up in pretty unstable circumstance and moved around a lot. She is adamant that we own a house before we get married, have kids, and the home market here is booming. She also thought that it was a bit embarrassing to be so fixated on owning a house and wanted to take the whole burden on herself. I really love this woman. I know that her actions in the past have not been great, but even after that I trust her to be kind. I think, this perspective is not something I could have ever thought of. I come from a more privileged background, and even though my parents raised us to be independent, but we always knew that if things got ugly, we had a safety net. She never had that, and I understand her need to create one. After we stopped crying and talking, we went through the budget and talked about areas where we could cut expenses. She really doesn't want to change jobs, so we are planning on her asking for a raise, and I think I will start looking for a new job. I am pretty indifferent about my workplace, and I don't mind jumping ship to increase my salary. She is happy and would have disliked moving to another company. I have to really thank the people here for helping us talk this out. I am planning on bringing up counseling on a later date. We have a lingering issue on communication that we need to sort out. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.